That day after school, I encountered a god. The god asked me, between a 750 on the Gaokao and 75 million yuan, which would you choose? Is that even a question? To hesitate for even a second would be disrespectful to the 75 million. With 75 million, who the hell would still take the Gaokao? But I chose the 750 points. Simply because the day before the exam, I came across a post. The op asked, 75 million in cash or a perfect Gaokao score, which one? I saw it was another one of those moronic questions. So I immediately hopped on my keyboard to start flaming. All you do all day is choose, choose, choose. If I choose, are you actually going to give it to me? But to my surprise, the OP actually told me to just choose and see. I was amused by that. There's no need to even think. These days, college students are a dime a dozen. With 75 million, I could hire 10,000 college students to work for me. Unless I'm guaranteed a perfect score on the Gaokao, being the top scholar wouldn't be bad either. The op instantly replied again, as long as you choose, you are guaranteed a perfect score on the Gaokao, and you will gain brand new problem-solving skills. But you cannot tell anyone, otherwise the power will vanish. Seeing how mysterious he made it sound, I casually replied, if it's true, I choose the perfect Gaokao score. If I could really be the top Gaokao scholar, 18 generations of my ancestors would leap out of their graves to set off firecrackers for me. Then I tossed my phone aside and went to sleep. Until the next day, when the proctor handed out the exam papers. I took just one look and suddenly felt a shiver down my spine. The answers to these questions started pouring out of my mind uncontrollably. To be precise, for the questions I originally didn't know how to solve. Now, with just one glance, the perfect answers appeared directly in my head. Then I held my breath and realized my handwriting, which used to look like chicken scratch, now looked like it was written by a master calligrapher. My pupils contracted sharply. This is definitely for the presentation score. Otherwise, even with the standard answers to copy, they'd still have to deduct a point or two for layout. So I answered the questions at top speed. After handing in the paper and leaving the hall to test my handwriting, I took out a pen and paper and wrote the words, "I am so handsome." The script was still unmatched. Just based on this handwriting alone, I could become a fairly famous calligrapher. This discovery made me ecstatic. If just the Chinese exam gave me such a badass skill, then 75 million is worth nothing. During the math exam in the afternoon, I performed like a god again. Every problem instantly had hundreds of solutions in my mind. And many solutions even exceeded my understanding. They weren't even methods that existed on Earth. When the math exam ended, wails of despair were everywhere in the exam center. Oh my god, the last question. I just checked. That's a college-level calculus problem. This year's examiners must be psychopaths. In the following exams, I continued my unstoppable streak. My mind was filled with a vast amount of world-changing skills. When I was the first to rush out of the exam hall, the students nearby were stunned. This kid must have handed in a blank paper. But I ignored the gossip. All I left behind was a mysterious and profound silhouette. 2 days later, thousands of elite teachers sat in front of their computers, grading papers at high speed. Chen Qiu, the head of the Southwest grading group, paced back and forth, repeatedly emphasizing that there must not be a single grading error, because one mistake could affect a child's entire life. Not long after he finished speaking, a grading teacher suddenly stood up. Chen Qiu immediately snapped. "What are you doing? Don't you know to keep quiet?" Xia Chuxu, who was in charge of grading, looked shocked. Group leader Chen, you have to see this. I think this is a perfect score essay. Everyone was instantly shocked. It's only just started, and we already have a perfect essay? Chen Qiu studied the computer screen even more closely. With just one look, his expression changed. This handwriting is truly exquisite. Even if the content were a pile of crap, I'd still have to give him 20 points. He glanced at the content again, and Chen Qiu got goosebumps all over. In just over 1,000 words, this student captured the entire history of China's glory and decline. He suddenly shouted, "Report it! Report it immediately! Maybe this year. The first perfect essay will come from our group." A few days later, the math grading began. A teacher suddenly cried out that there was a problem with a paper. The answers are all correct, but I can't understand any of the logic behind them. This scene played out again during the grading of the remaining subjects. Not until the Gaokao scores were released did I see that I indeed got a perfect score. #1 in the entire country. The news caused a massive stir. My classmates knelt and roared, "God must be blind." A slacker like me who worked in fits and starts turned out to be a top student who was secretly grinding like crazy. But even more shocked than the students were the professors in the grading review committee. They didn't understand how I managed to solve those math problems. There had never been such solutions in the entire world before. Suddenly, high-level officials from all sides pulled out their phones, wanting to beat other universities to send me an admission letter. Meanwhile, my parents were even more overwhelmed. "Honey, did you see the news? A high school senior named Chunzi got a perfect score. He has the exact same name as our son." When I heard that, I strolled out of my bedroom. Is there a possibility that this Chunzi is me? When I pulled out my phone to check the score, the 750 points almost blinded them. My dad was stunned for a long time, then suddenly bolted outside. "I'm going to check if our ancestral grave exploded." I quickly held my parents back and told them I didn't plan to go to college because I planned to be bold, provoke the exam committee, and make them increase the difficulty of the exam, then publicly announce that I would take the Gaokao again next year. To others, the Gaokao is for a college admission letter. But to me, the Gaokao is for self-improvement. As long as I take the Gaokao once, I can gain the scientific knowledge corresponding to the exam questions. I could become a top mathematician or physicist. I vaguely remember how some shameless countries, in order to suppress our rise, used various blockade methods. If I could get those blocked technological subjects to appear on the Gaokao papers, wouldn't everything be solved easily? Of course, I couldn't tell this to anyone. After I promised to attend college after the next Gaokao, my parents finally reluctantly agreed to my plan. The next day, a swarm of reporters arrived, wanting to investigate everything about me. Arriving with them were officials from several top domestic universities. They were already bickering with each other before they even started, ready to fight over the top student. Just as the three of us were about to head out, we were completely dazed by the massive crowd at the door. The officials swarmed forward, surrounding my parents, and offered unimaginable terms. Some offered full tuition waivers, along with residency and local subsidies. Others offered a monthly living allowance of 30,000 yuan. Xia Chuksu was not to be outdone either, stating she would grant me an independent lab, 300,000 in research funds every year, and whether or not I go to their Southwest College, this money will always be available. As soon as this was said, people from Zhu and Shangtang universities got anxious. "Wow, playing dirty, huh? We only give the money after you've committed. But you say you'll give the money regardless. No matter what, you'll still get paid." But what I said next made everyone present curse out the teachers. I've already decided. I'll repeat my senior year. Everyone's mind was buzzing. What the heck is going on? A bunch of reporters smelled a big story and rushed over. "Chunzi, why is the top scorer giving up on college?" My eyes lit up. This is exactly what I've been waiting for the reporters to ask, because this year's exam questions were way too easy. I scored full marks without even using half my ability. When the interview aired, the whole nation was in an uproar, especially students taking the college entrance exam next year. I instantly trended on social media thanks to their outrage. "This guy is insane. Can he just act normal?" The exam committee experts were really fired up. "Isn't this way too arrogant? He really thinks that's all we can do on the exam committee." After the interview, all kinds of provincial agencies awarded me up to 1.5 million yuan. After the news report aired, public opinion exploded again. Netizens all claimed to understand why I wasn't going to college. With my grades, if I take the exam again next year, I'll easily earn another million. but I ignored all the trolls online. Because I had a date with the campus belle Yingwen. We had a crush on each other back at school. But she never agreed because she was focused on the entrance exam. Now that I'm the top scorer, we naturally made our relationship official. Very quickly, a year went by. It's now the second year. On the day of the entrance exam, I had just arrived at the exam site, and countless reporters wanted to interview Chunzi. How well do you think you'll do in your second entrance exam? I smiled and shook my head. Hopefully full marks again. The reporters instantly lit up inside. They even came up with the headlines already. Full score genius. Second time at the entrance exam. Boldly claims another perfect score. The second reporter quickly asked, last year you challenged the exam committee and made the experts very upset. This year's questions will be much harder than last year's, causing lots of complaints among students. So let me ask, was there some misunderstanding? No misunderstanding. I'm not targeting the exam committee. I'm saying everyone here is trash. The reporters all cursed it in shock. This kid is unbelievably arrogant. Plus, seeing the pretty girl beside me. A reporter blurted out, excuse me, Miss Liu. Who is the beautiful girl next to you? I didn't hide it. Held Ying Wenwen's hand. And openly said she's my girlfriend. Sure enough, the reporters thought gossip was still news. And started snapping photos like crazy. As long as they had a photo like that, the news click rates would jump by dozens of percentage points. Soon the entrance exam began as scheduled. And my prediction was spot on. As long as I saw the questions, the answers just popped into my head. And there was no need to worry about mistakes. In fact, this time, I even used a different writing style. Still a calligraphy style that could start its own school. The two proctors kept glancing at me, seeing me writing away, hardly pausing at all. They couldn't help but get curious. So they stood up and began walking the room. When they saw my test paper, they were completely captivated, stunned on the spot. A 19-year-old kid with such amazing calligraphy. Is this what genius really looks like? When he saw my essay topic, he realized this year's exam committee's big move. They asked students to continue writing Dream of the Red Chamber and required at least 600 words. The proctor was also a fan of Dream of the Red Chamber. He knew how difficult that is. Countless people tried to write sequels but failed. Compared to the original, they lost much of its charm. But seeing how I dove right in without hesitation, his expression kept changing. All the way until my writing filled the paper. His heart was itching like crazy. He couldn't wait to read it. The students watched as I handed in my exam early again, and immediately rolled their eyes. Why is it this show-off again? Won't he ever stop flexing? A few days later, the exam ended, and the grading team got to work. All the teachers agreed. They didn't feel qualified to grade my essay, so they had no choice but to escalate it for the expert panel to review. Jiang Menglin, a literary heavyweight, saw my exam and glared, "Where's the rest? This is clearly unfinished. Who's ever seen it end here?" He almost looked like he was going to blow a fuse. As a diehard Red Chamber fan, there's hope for a complete Red Chamber. But the exam only gives so little paper. Chun Q from the grading team quickly calmed him down. This isn't literary research. Then carefully asked Jiang Menglin what score would be appropriate. Jiang Menglin was at a loss, collapsed on the sofa, and said, "Full marks." Days later, the grading was finished, and the entrance exam results were out. To my surprise, I was again the top scorer nationwide. Tons of haters online claimed it was rigged. It must be investigated. A Red Chamber sequel. How could anyone possibly get full marks on an essay like this? They demanded my essay be made public. Faced with this situation, the Ministry of Education directly released my essay. As soon as the article was published, it was quickly reposted by all the major platforms. Netizens were left speechless. Is this something a 19-year-old could write? Countless Red Chamber fans begged me to write more. They'd waited far too long for this moment. Online opinion quickly reversed. Countless Red Chamber fans jumped in to battle the haters. Until the calligraphy community chimed in. This calligraphy is a whole new school. If this were ancient times, we have another calligraphy sage. But what really pushed things to the peak was the president of the Red Chamber Association, Jiang Menglin. He brought a reporter right to my door, hoping I could continue Red Chamber's serialization, saying I could set any rate I liked. Because at the moment, besides me, There's no one who can truly complete the red chamber. Seeing the elders so worried about it, I reluctantly agreed. After taking the paper and pen, I wrote right in front of everyone, starting from chapter 81, and wrote all the way to the end. Jiang Menglin cradled it like a priceless treasure, sitting in the middle of the sofa. Please publish it, I'm begging you. What conditions do you have? Our Red Chamber Association will do our best to meet them. But I calmly shook my head. I wrote it so people could read it. Let's just follow the normal publishing process. But I do want to ask you for a small favor. At this point, Jiang Menglin was overjoyed and told me to just say it. As long as it's something I can do, I absolutely won't refuse. But what he didn't expect was, my request was actually for him to relay a message to the exam committee, telling them to make next year's college entrance exam as difficult as possible. Jiang Menglin stared at me, looking like he wanted to say something but stopped. Just how hard do you want the questions to be? Why do you insist on challenging the college entrance exam?
He kept complaining in his heart,
but didn't dare say it out loud. He could only reluctantly say he would try. After that, both sides decided to sell the sequel to Dream of the Red Chamber for 50 million. At the same time, I asked to make the college entrance exam harder, which became a topic. Suddenly, the whole internet began attacking me. Relevant organizations quickly responded as well, criticizing me for being too arrogant, saying I didn't understand the endlessness of learning. But unexpectedly, 3 days later, the sequel to Dream of the Red Chamber was released and sold out immediately after it hit the shelves. It was like a huge contest in an instant, directly shutting up all the trolls. Meanwhile, the nation's top financial tycoon Yin Tianxi held a book in his hands and quietly shed tears. As for Chen Zi, that kid wrote so well at such a young age.
He immediately asked his secretary to look into Chen Zi.
Soon his secretary sent over an interview video. When Yin Tianxi saw his daughter Yin Wenwen appear, his eyelids twitched wildly, and his mouth hung wide open. His secretary thought the chairman was about to blow up, and immediately stepped back. But Yin Tianxi instead said, "This guy has gotten this far, but hasn't come to meet his future father-in-law." Then he asked his secretary to arrange a meeting with his daughter. Not long after, Yin Wenwen and her father met at a fancy hotel for dinner. Yin Tianxi's face turned dark. "Chen Zi is your boyfriend, isn't he?" Thinking of her father's overbearing nature, Yin Wenwen hurriedly explained how outstanding she was and how hard she worked. Yin Tianxi raised his hand to interrupt her. "You should work hard. Otherwise, how could you be worthy of my great son-in-law? From now on, you should call him your husband." Yin Wenwen was completely stunned. "What's going on here?" Stop being confused, he handed Wenwen a glass of hot water and rolled his eyes, saying, "It's not as complicated as you think." "That's right, I approve of this son-in-law. But there's a condition." "What condition?" Yin Wenwen didn't believe him and was especially wary. Yin Tianxi was speechless. Daughters do grow up and move out, huh? Turning her back on her own family, right? Even though I approve of him, he still managed to win over my daughter. Shouldn't he give his future father-in-law a little gift when meeting me? "What do you want?" "It's no big deal for a meeting gift." Yin Tianxi cleared his throat.
He wrote the sequel to Dream of the Red Chamber, didn't he?
"Can he give me his personally signed copy?" Yin Wenwen's first instinct was that something was off. She knew exactly what her father was like. "Of course I have my reasons. Just say yes or no." Yin Tianxi stiffened his neck and said, but Yin Wenwen said she couldn't decide. She'd have to ask me. "Fine, go ask him." Yin Tianxi agreed quickly. Seeing her turn to leave, he quickly added, "Just be nice to him. And don't make my great son-in-law angry." Yin Rechu suddenly felt she couldn't possibly be the biological child. Back home, Yin Rechu told me about it. After hearing it, I shook my head and smiled. Didn't expect uncle to find out after all. As for the red chamber, I already gave it to you. Since it's yours now, it's up to you to give it to someone or arrange it however you want. I have no opinion at all. I pulled Yin Rechu into my arms and kissed her, then continued, "You really didn't need to do that. We're equals, aren't we? Equality is right, but I still have to get your permission." Feeling relieved, she gave me a sweet kiss in return. "But you agreeing really makes me so happy. Now nothing is stopping us anymore." Then we went to see my future father-in-law. Everything went well at first. Suddenly he cleared his throat. By the way, when are you two getting a marriage license? 15 Wenwen had just sipped her tea and ended up spraying it all over Yin Tianqi. Dad, even I am confused. I knew the future father-in-law already accepted me without realizing it, but I didn't expect him to go this far. Uncle, we're only 19. My bad, forgot about that. Yin Tianqi smacked his forehead. You're not old enough yet, but we can have the wedding banquet first, right? Let's arrange a meeting between the two families and set a good date so we can make things official. Yin Ruchu's dad was anxious. Who rushes to marry off their daughter like that? Even if I'm 100,000% willing, you can't just say it out loud as her father. Yin Tianqi just gently waved at her, signaling her to calm down. Of course I know. It's not right to rush, but with such a good son-in-law, if you don't lock it down quickly. What if something changes and someone else snatches him away? I honestly didn't know how to respond, so I could only try my best to calm down this enthusiastic father-in-law, and found an excuse to take Wenwen and leave. Not long after, the college entrance exam results were announced again. And after I got a perfect score once more, all the top universities in the country rushed to recruit me, but I rejected them all, and even claimed the exam was way too easy. I hoped next time, the exam authorities would try harder, because I wanted to use these exams to help the country break through the technological blockade, but I couldn't reveal this. Otherwise, I'd lose my special ability. Because of that, netizens all thought I was too arrogant, even started showing up at my front door. If it really was me. But now my mindset has changed, so I used all the 50 million I made from writing The Red Chamber to buy a villa. If the exam committee made things more challenging, so I could acquire some new skills and greatly expand my knowledge, then maybe I could uncover the truth and perhaps even find the wreckage of YH39. Though it shouldn't be possible within the next 10 years. After all, the longer it takes, the blurrier the clues get, and the harder it will be to find anything. In the end, it won't be just about calculation anymore, unless my knowledge already surpasses this era, or I even master things like time machines. But honestly, that's still pretty far-fetched. He sighed helplessly. In his past life, he paid a lot of attention to YH739. Sadly, even after reincarnating, having to experience this regret again was really upsetting. It's not that he was overly sympathetic. It was empathy. As the saying goes, disasters are merciless, but people have compassion. As the search and rescue continued, news kept coming in. Unfortunately, none of it was good. There wasn't even anything truly useful. A few days later, it was reported that satellites showed images of 2 large debris pieces in the search area, about 24 meters long, pretty big in size. And besides the big pieces, there were many small ones as well, all located in the same area. But it hasn't been confirmed if they're from the missing flight. The local government is mobilizing fighter jets and radars to get clearer images. A few days later, the local government held a press conference, stating that as of now, they still haven't found or confirmed any wreckage related to the passenger plane. Another half a month later, the manager of a salvage company was convinced that the 4 detected pulse signals came from the missing plane's black box. The wreck site has been discovered. Although the government hasn't made an official announcement yet, but if someone asks me, from a technical standpoint, whether they have enough information, I would answer clearly, yes. They detected a strong signal 4 times, all within the correct noise frequency range. It's impossible for it to come from anything else. But after 10 days, the local government came out and denied it again. The relevant vessels have searched 10,000 square kilometers of seabed. The search has been conducted, but nothing has been found so far. Still, the search efforts remain coordinated. The center will provide periodic updates and communicate with the families of the passengers. There are constant updates, but there hasn't been any truly good news. Even the news that seems promising ends up disappointing after a few days. It seems like every time hope feels within reach, it's just to bring people a deeper sense of despair. From the local officials announcing the location of YH739, with expectations to complete the search in 3 months, to massive involvement of commercial vessels in the search, then dispatching professional submersibles for 10 divees, but still not finding the target. Even after 3 months, nothing has been found. At this point, many search and rescue teams have returned. Only Tanguo and the UK are still persisting with the search. But so much time has passed with zero results. Everyone knows the chances of recovery are really slim now. Still holding on, just hoping to seize that 1 in 10,000 chance. From the grief of the victims' families, to British Airlines eventually choosing to give $400,000 to each victim's family. Then to countless others starting to gossip. Sigh, $400,000 is pretty expensive. Are you even human? How about I pay you $400,000 for your brain? Would you agree? So is it possible YH739 really flew into another dimension? Otherwise, it's impossible they've found nothing after searching so long. Maybe the Brits are shouting thief while being the thief themselves. If they hid it, who could possibly find it? I think it's best to stay rational. Don't speculate maliciously about other countries. Most likely, it really sank into the deep sea. It's very difficult to find. I heard a rumor. They say the captain had mental health issues. Maybe he crashed the plane on purpose, taking everyone on board with him. Your info is way out there. Even hearsay is more credible than this. What did you say? Don't speculate maliciously about other countries. Sorry, but when it comes to the Eagle guys, speculate as maliciously as you want. It's still not enough. There's nothing you can imagine that they wouldn't dare to do. A bag of laundry detergent. Yeah. Let's talk about Bobo Airlines' 077 model airliner. There are issues, right? But they themselves claim there aren't any. Who's to say for sure? Headache. Public attention on any incident will always fade eventually. People have to return to their normal lives. Only when occasionally recalling this incident, or hearing it mentioned by someone nearby, it's hard not to sigh wistfully. Over 3 months have passed. Spring has gone and summer has arrived. Everything seems to have returned to normal. On this day, the Education Department internally held its annual internal meeting on this year's college entrance exam. Many leaders and staff from the Education Testing Center attended. The meeting finalized this year's exam question team, and while establishing the list of experts and professors, also issued several important directives. 1. The college entrance exam questions can't follow routines. Look forward. Stay in tune with trends. Be flexible and adaptable. 2. The difficulty of exam questions should be tiered. Regular questions should prioritize admitting outstanding candidates. A small portion of questions will be more difficult, with the aim of selecting talent. But those questions shouldn't carry too much weight, so as not to affect fairness in college entrance exams. 3. Flexible use of answer sheets. No longer restrict the number of answer sheets students can use. If the exam questions are too difficult, and the need is truly there, in principle, answer sheets can be added without limit. To ensure we don't have the abrupt ending problem in the red chamber essay again. That suddenly cut off. It seemed like a reasonable minor change, but once the news trickled down and was learned by ground-level staff, everyone was shocked. Wow, such big changes to this year's college entrance exam. It's been years since we've had such a major principal adjustment. This is going to directly change the layout of the test papers. Unlimited answer sheets. How much extra work does that mean for us workers below? That's a lot of extra workload for us. Those above just make decisions on a whim. Seriously, in the local education testing center group, several colleagues were venting like crazy. Who isn't, honestly? Changing the exam scoring doesn't really matter, but unlimited answer sheets are truly a hassle. All because of Chunzi and a red chamber essay. Some people felt it didn't really matter, and argued back saying, I know everyone is anxious, but don't be in a rush just yet. If you think about it carefully, it's not that bad. They say unlimited answer sheets, but students have to finish the previous one first. How many can actually finish all the answer sheets? That's true. But speaking of which, it's not just the issue of one person, or just about the red chamber essay. Do you still not get what he means? Not to mention red chamber's influence, and how well the red chamber sequel sells. Just that interview alone. Chanzi gathered a huge following. Every college student, An expert and professor knows about it. Would all of them be indifferent? Just watch Chunzi show off and jump around? These university experts will definitely push things behind the scenes. Plus, under our leadership, aren't they all from these universities? Or experts and professors themselves? So isn't this change only natural? You're right. This change, who knows how many people contributed behind the scenes? Chunzi is always so cocky. He really deserved to be taken down a notch. Let's see how he gets a perfect score this time. He deserves to make our workload heavier for no reason. Seriously, by the end the whole conversation turned into complaints about Chunzi. He deserves to take the blame for this. Meanwhile, at a certain villa where the exam question team is based, all the experts, professors, and teachers have already been gathered. An education testing center leader holding a teacup cleared his throat and said, "I'm sure you all know about this year's changes to the college entrance exam. You all know about them, right? Prepare the questions according to the latest guidelines. For the time being, it's still the same rules. Everyone has to stay here. No private contact with the outside world. All communication devices must be handed in until the exam is over. Of course, as usual, I'll be here with you. Most people present are old colleagues and acquaintances, so I won't say much more, so as not to bore everyone. Just stick to the guidelines and focus on making good exam questions." Next, the group leaders for each subject will lead their members in making questions. "I trust you will do an outstanding job." After speaking, the leader strolled off, leaving the group of experts and professors staring in silence. The leaders are still Zhang Menglin, Qin Zhengguo, and Wu Jianzhen, along with several other group leaders, wide-eyed, staring at each other. After a while, Wu Jianzhen rolled up his sleeves and was the first to speak. Looks like quite a few people are backing him from behind the scenes. It's rare to see such a huge change in the college entrance exam in just 1 year. Who else is there to blame? It's that kid's arrogance. Nobody has taught him a lesson yet. Qin Zhengguo scoffed. "This year we have orders from above. We must take him down immediately. Just watch me come up with some tough problems. Teach that kid a lesson." "I want to as well," Wu Jianzhen nodded emphatically. The other group leaders and professors all chimed in. Exactly, who wouldn't agree?
He insulted all of us.
If we let him get a perfect score again, wouldn't that make us look useless? Exactly, we have to deal with him hard. Let him know what real consequences are. As they continued chatting, the room grew heated with emotion. At first listen, it sounded like the tens of millions of students nationwide didn't matter to them at all. And it was all targeted just at Chunzi, sharpening their blades for Chunzi. Only Zhang Menglin scratched his head and said, "Is this really necessary? We're all of a certain age by now, well-established and successful. So why bother with a kid who's barely in his teens or 20s? Getting even with him like this just makes us look petty. Doing this only makes us look small-minded." Wu Jianzhen immediately glared at him. "Shut up. Stop talking. You old traitor. That kid from Dream of the Red Chamber got to you, huh? Now you're speaking up for him. Why don't you think about your own alma mater? Or about all the universities? Or about the future generations? Whether he has real talent or not, this kind of attitude can't be encouraged. Otherwise, what if future students copy him? So we have to do something about him." Qin Zhengguo slammed the table, his beard trembling with anger. "We have to deal with him. A perfect score is absolutely unacceptable, got it? I tell the truth, and you all call me a traitor," Zhang Menglin said gloomily. "Fine, do whatever you want. Last year, our Chinese team already did our best. And as it turns out, the Chinese exam couldn't stump that kid."
He kept writing essays on Dream of the Red Chamber and still got perfect scores.
What other tough problems could we possibly create? So we're just giving up. Let's just keep things normal. You all do as you please. Anyway, when the students start cursing at the test, at least they won't be cursing at us, the Chinese team. Right now, Zhang Menglin really doesn't have any issue with Chunzi. He admits he might have some bias because of his love for Dream of the Red Chamber.
He likes Dream of the Red Chamber himself.
So he naturally doesn't hold any grudge against Chunzi.
He can't control what others think.
But at the same time, he feels certain It's not just because of Dream of the Red Chamber that he suggested letting Chunzi off the hook. It's that our Chinese team really is out of ideas. What else could we possibly do? Throw in the towel, I guess. The head of the foreign language question group said helplessly, "We can only set normal questions. There's nothing we can do." What can language subjects do anyway? No matter how hard we make it, there's a limit. He can handle even the most cunning questions. And based on his performance in previous years, even if I ask him to translate famous lines from classic literature, he could still nail them perfectly. We really have no way to challenge him in these language subjects. So unless something crazy happens, our foreign language team will probably also give up. We just can't beat him. The problem is the lower limit is too low. The upper limit is high, but if the other person has already surpassed it, trying to stump him is impossible. The upper limit is right there. Do you want to test someone's abilities so much that you hope he becomes a literary master for the ages and ask him to write a poem, like a single poem that surpasses the entire Tang dynasty? Isn't that just nonsense? But it's different for subjects like math and science. The lower limit is high and the upper limit. Sorry, there is no upper limit. If we didn't get you last year, this year we'll make the questions even harder. Basically, there is no end. If you can solve all the hard problems, fine. Then I'll give you math conjectures and all sorts of unproven definitions. Given this situation, the foreign language team is ready to just give up now too. You guys play, the language team is leaving. The foreign language team is leaving too. They'll go off and work on their own questions. The other team leaders exchange glances and nod helplessly. Nothing we can do, subjects are different. It doesn't matter. Same as always. It doesn't take a ton of hard problems. Just one is enough. As long as it can trip him up. No need for all of us to come up with insanely hard problems. He's not worth that much effort. Next, let's discuss how we're going to deal with him. So what should we do? As soon as Wu Jianjun finished speaking, everyone immediately started discussing. But just then, biology team leader Kang Ji raised his hand. "Excuse me, everyone. I have a question." The higher-ups requested that the questions follow current events closely. As soon as he said that, everyone was stunned. They'd been too busy scheming to get Chunzi that they'd really forgotten about this requirement. Follow current events closely. They looked at each other. After thinking for a long time, Wu Jianjun suddenly laughed out loud 3 times. Got it. Absolutely follows current events. And no one will realize. We're targeting that kid. We just need a single point to get that kid to fail perfectly. There's no way he'll get a full score. He said it confidently, totally sure of himself.
Ecstatic.
Excited? You really thought of something? Qin Zhengguo asked curiously. How did this old guy suddenly go crazy? So confident. Don't worry about it. Let me keep it a secret for now. Wu Jianjun grinned mysteriously. Anyway, you guys just make your questions as usual. Make them a bit more challenging, just to keep up appearances. It's fine if he gets a perfect score in your subjects, because he definitely won't pass my round. I'll say it now. If he passes my round, I'll write my name backwards. Physics team, come with me. Let's write the questions. Wu Jianjun led the group energetically and left directly. They're about to shake things up, leaving Qin Zhengbo and the others behind, staring at each other. Old Wu is getting up there, but he's still so full of energy. His temper is really reckless. I don't know if it's reckless, but damn, keeping us in suspense is truly irritating. I feel like I could strangle him. Come on, that's not necessary. Chill. He's taken this on himself, which is good for us. At least we don't have to rack our brains anymore, right? Hey, you know what? That does kind of make sense. You think he'll mess it up? Probably not. He seems super confident. Soon, the college entrance exam reform was made public, and tons of netizens were thrilled, especially college students. Were so excited they practically wanted to celebrate. Everyone could tell. The second rule of the reform was aimed directly at Chunzi. Aren't you all cocky? Didn't you even suggest making the questions harder if that's what it takes?
Even if it's worth just 0.1 points, right?
You were almost saying straight up that no media could stump you. Now the authorities are stepping in to put you in your place. Let's see if you keep showing off. We laughed out loud. But Chunzi still ignored them, almost made them depressed from frustration. Night fell deeper. Afterwards, Chunzi enjoyed a cigarette, feeling great. Because we were scrolling on our phones, when suddenly someone shouted in surprise, "This year's college entrance exam has been reformed. Looks like it's going to be a lot harder." He couldn't help feeling a little worried. Chunzi's eyes lit up, overjoyed. Is there really such good news? Where is it? Let me see. Yin Wenwen blinked, a little confused as she handed her phone to Chunzi. Are you really not worried at all about this good news? But so confident. This really is great news. He felt secretly proud. Last year's interview really worked. Wasn't all that arrogance worth it after all? He was cursed by so many people. Even got reported to the police in real life. Ripped the cover off the air conditioner, while stroking Yin Wenwen's jet black hair, feeling on top of the world. Time passed, and before anyone noticed, the height of summer arrived. The National Higher Ed Exam of Korea, year 1013 began. Chunzi walked into the test room with his head held high, swaggering in. Wherever he went, almost everyone automatically made way for him. At the massive exam entrance, he was the only one strolling right through. Now Chunzi was way too famous. Even if it was all infamy, it's still fame after all. Some people actually wanted to heckle him directly, but after a second thought, realized it was a bad idea. They couldn't do it. If you walked up to him and had a couple of words, and people further away didn't hear, they might think you were Chunzi's accomplice. Then what? Afterwards, you'd get flamed by everyone. No way, can't risk it. Just curse him in your heart. So they started cursing that bastard to themselves. This guy is really something. All because of him. The exam has been reformed. Who knows how many hard questions there will be this year. That's just going too far. The path was smooth, but the piercing gaze from test takers on both sides. Chunzi could really feel it. He just wanted to laugh. Why are you all staring so hard? You think I'm scared of you? Or you think you're all Hawkeye or something? Go on, glare at me. The more you glare at me, the angrier you get, the happier I am. I'll just strut around even more, to provoke you even further. Because I have already prepared myself for a long and hard battle. Maybe in a few decades, some of you will even join the exam writing committee, still involved in these exams. So remember how angry I made you today, and turn it into endless resentment, and launch a fierce attack on my test papers. Entering the exam room, Chunzi rubbed his arms together like crazy. So pumped. He got goosebumps all over. Turns out, have I finally outgrown my teenage phase? This time, he found his own seat. He giggled quietly. Gradually, the candidates began to enter the venue. The proctors also arrived. Then the exam papers were distributed. But whether it was the candidates or the proctors, there was a trace of anxiety in their eyes when they looked at Chunzi. Chunzi didn't care. After writing down his name and exam number, he started working on the questions right away. The early questions in the Chinese exam were easy and effortless.
He quickly moved on after carefully reading the essay prompt.
But Chunzi was disappointed. It was just loofah vines and sponge-gourd tendrils. This essay wasn't easy to write. But the difficulty was just average. With my golden finger, there's absolutely no problem getting a perfect score. But the most important thing is, this thing, I can't gain anything from it at all. No, it's not that I get absolutely nothing. Another top-tier calligraphy style isn't bad either. It's always good to have extra talents. But sometimes it's just hard to put them to use. Something's off though. He looked surprised. Where's the promised reform? Where's the promised progressive difficulty? Where's the promised relevance to current events? Where's the promised talent selection system with graded scores? Why is this no different from previous years? What's going on? I don't get it. At noon, he ate a quick lunch with Yin Wenwen. After a short nap, it was time for the afternoon math exam. Chunzi was once again hopeful. But he was once again disappointed. Come on. The math difficulty was only slightly higher than last year. It wasn't even as tough as the year before. What kind of reform is this supposed to be? Are you looking down on me? Or is the exam committee just ignoring me? Don't do this. If you keep it up like this, how am I supposed to pull off my plan? Chanzi was at his wit's end. Although the plan was to spend 3 to 5 years, or maybe even 8 or 10 years to urge the exam committee, that was all expected, but he'd just made a big move and talked tough last year. And now they're slacking off this year. What am I supposed to do then? If things keep going like this, even if another 10 or 20 years go by, it might not even reach a tenth of the peak mental excitement I imagined. His heart tightened. He sensed trouble. This definitely wasn't good news. Fortunately, on the second day, he finally found a challenging question in the physics section of the comprehensive exam. And it was a problem he'd never solved in his previous life, even after more than 10 years. A question that remained unsolved for decades. He had never found the answer to it. Suppose YH739 has crashed. Please attempt to use your physics knowledge to analyze the crash location of YH739. This question is an extra bonus question, worth only 1 point. Supplemental info. British Airways YH739 is a BA flight. On the 6th day of the Lunar New Year, it departed from the capital airport of the UK heading for Dango's capital airport. There were 360 passengers on board YH739. Among them, 261 were Dango citizens, and there were 12 crew members. After flying for about 1 hour and 30 minutes, contact was lost. Hint: please use the direction of the missing plane, its speed and the time of disappearance, to calculate the crash site. Except Chunzi. All the candidates who saw this question felt their scalps tingle. Only Chunzi was pleasantly surprised. Thank goodness. At least the reform was real. There were tough questions, just hidden here, still giving me a challenge. You don't need a lot of hard questions. One is enough. But this question was really well designed. After a brief excitement, he calmed down. He sighed to himself. Get the liquor out. Even if you can only find fragments or scraps, at least you could give the victims' families some closure. Let them know what really happened, and where their loved ones passed away. Suddenly, so much new information appeared in my mind. When he cleared his mind of distractions, he found that the newfound knowledge in his mind could only be described as overwhelming. There were tons of technologies and more. After briefly recalling this knowledge, his face showed excitement about submarines. Revolutionary submarine manufacturing tech and related data. There are even new types of materials. Damn, even the manufacturing techniques for related equipment. Every detail in the data is included. Is this meant to have me actually build a submarine by hand or what? And the maximum dive depth is 20,000 meters. Isn't that deeper than the deepest trench on Moreland Star? Is there really such an outrageous 20,000 meter depth? And another thing, what is this new underwater lighting device? At 20,000 meters underwater, the effective lighting area is 30,000 square meters. New signal transmission device. Real-time signal transmission and reception at 20,000 meters with zero latency. Chunzi's mind was full of question marks at this moment. What is going on here? They ask where YH739 is. But you give me all this technology. But honestly, this is amazing. This is a big win. And I now have the exact location of YH739. In my mind too. The Jogyoya Trench. An oceanographer named Jogyoya was the first to discover its existence and depth, so it was named after him. This is the Pacific Ocean and the deepest trench on Moreland Star. They say its deepest point exceeds 20,000 meters. Right now, it's considered a forbidden zone for humans. After all, current manned submarines can only dive to about 7,000 to 8,000 meters, 20,000 meters below sea level. With current technology and equipment, there's no way to send people down for exploration. Based on the answer I obtained, YH739 is currently at the bottom of Jogyoya, the trench. In other words, it's already sunk to the seafloor at 20,000 meters or even deeper. No wonder searching hasn't found anything. It's gone to the human forbidden zone. How could anyone find it there? Although I wasn't too familiar with these data in my previous life, based on some news I occasionally saw, even a dozen years later, in the year 502 something, manned submersibles could only dive barely over 10,000 meters at most. There's no way you find it. Chunzi's mouth twitched slightly. As he wrote down the answer, he suddenly sensed something was off. Wait, this question is kind of a trap. Because there is no standard answer. He suddenly understood. How could you possibly get points for this question? Whether your answer is right or wrong, you're not going to get any points. Or rather, it's impossible to score the full point. Because there's simply no conclusion right now. Even if your calculation steps are extravagant and reasonable, at most you'd probably get just 0.6 points. Because if calculation alone could determine the coordinates of YH739, how could 4 months have passed? And it's still missing? So no matter how good the calculations are, you can't get a full point. I won't get full marks either, because I didn't write the calculation process. I just wrote down the answer directly. And since this answer can't be verified, there's a high chance I won't get any points. It's a paradox. I know this is the perfect full score answer. It's the correct answer, but the grader doesn't know it. There's no way to confirm it. No way to prove it. And I didn't write out the derivation or theoretical formulas. So the grader definitely won't give me points. In other words, no matter what you write, this question can't be scored full marks. No way to get full marks. I was supposed to get a perfect score on my entrance exam. Wouldn't my causality skill be broken because of this? Causality skill faces a crisis of trust. Will I get full marks or not? If I don't, even though I know the right answer and where YH739 is, but at least on paper I didn't get a perfect score. How do you deal with this? Wait, Chunzi stopped writing. A spark of inspiration hit his mind. That's why I was given all those revolutionary technologies. He suddenly realized. So that's how it is.
But
The names for those technologies are way too casual. Is everyone that lazy? Just stick a star in front of the name and that's it. But anyway, if my guess is right, I'm probably going to be busy for a while. But it's worth it. Whether it's for the YH739 victims or for myself, these technologies will eventually be realized. He took a deep breath. No more hesitation or struggle. His eyes regained their shine. Definitely a worthwhile gain. But which bastard came up with an unverifiable question like this? If my mind hadn't worked well, I really would have seen my legend shattered. Soon, this year's college entrance exam finished. All the test takers breathed a sigh of relief. Faces lit up with smiles. I thought there would be a lot of tough questions this year. Scared me to death. Turns out, everything was in the normal range. Yeah, basically all within the usual standards. The only slightly off-curriculum question was YH739. But it's very topical, and only worth 1 point, so it's not a big deal. Speaking of which, YH739 still hasn't been found. Are they trying to use us students to figure out where YH739 is? Come on, stop talking nonsense. You don't really think you're that good, do you? So many experts around the world couldn't calculate it. If even us seniors couldn't find it, they want us to work out the right spot? Keep dreaming, honestly. Now I just want to laugh. Why laugh? It's because this question was well written. As students chatted after the test, others gradually learned about this year's exam questions. When they heard about the YH739 question, those originally unhappy with Chunzi started laughing. This question is actually great. I want to give a thumbs up to the question committee. Yeah, must give them a like. Mega like. Got me laughing. In previous years when difficult questions were set, the women in the setters' families were cursed like crazy. This year, everyone is just giving likes. All because Chunzi was just too arrogant. Now, let's see how he gets a perfect score. If he gets a perfect score, I'd do a headstand and lose my guts. Then eat 3 huge bites. Hardcore guy upstairs. I'll join you. Full marks aren't happening. Even if his calculations are brilliant and his answers are mind-blowing, can he really outdo the world's experts? No one could find it. If he could figure it out just by calculation, well, I definitely don't believe it. Let him show off. I'll tease him when the scores come out. Honestly, even though the question is a bit mean, I still want to laugh. Wasn't this what he asked for? A 1-point tough problem. Don't even wait for the scores to come out. You all can definitely be more confident. Are we starting now? Do you really think he still has a chance to score full marks? Otherwise, in the ruthless question-setting group chat, Qin Zhengguo is grimacing. He sends a thumbs-up emoji. Old Wu, oh old Wu. I never expected you to have this trick up your sleeve. Gotta admit, you really know how to put people in their place. With this question, nobody could get a full score no matter who came. It's basically a dimensionality reduction attack. Zhang Menglin went a bit too far. Wu Jianzhen also went a bit too far. But wasn't this what the higher-ups asked for? Keeping up with the times. And it's only 1 point. At the end of the day, I'm just using this 1 point to knock all the candidates off their horses, including Chen Zi. I want to see how he cracks this tough question. Kenji chuckles. Honestly, he deserves it. Zhang Menglin is speechless. Zijie, everyone's saying online that there's no way you'll get a perfect score. Yin Wenwen is annoyed. Her little face actually looks like a meat bun. That's just too much. I don't get what they're excited about. And who could actually answer this question anyway? No worries, Chun Zi smiles lightly and shakes his head. He was mentally prepared, so he wasn't even a little nervous. Let's wait until the scores come out. At the end of the day, what will happen? It's way too early to tell. Yin Wenwen is surprised. Is Zijie really able to score full marks on this too? But is it even possible to really figure out where YH739 crashed? Even if he trusts Chun Zi unconditionally, he's still totally shocked at this moment. He gasps deeply. Not long after, second grandpa calls. But they aren't asking anything. They're just comforting him, saying it's all right. It's just 1 year of not getting a perfect score. If you ask your mom, I think they're just making things hard for you. Honestly, that's a once-in-a-century tough question. Nobody could really get it right. It's not that big a deal. We'll just keep going next year. We believe in you. Don't worry, Mom and Dad, I'm as steady as a rock. I won't feel any psychological pressure. How could Chun Zi not recognize his parents' concern for him? He feels very warm in his heart. But for real, he's not worried at all. With skills in hand, the world is mine. Worst case, I'll just go all out. Later in the day, Yin Tianqi calls to check in too. He keeps calling Chun Zi his great son-in-law. It makes Chun Zi feel kinda embarrassed. He even says if Zi has free time, he can go visit Shenzhen. He'll set it up. Most importantly, not sure if his father-in-law was drunk or what. He even says easily, he can arrange 7 or 8 girls to help Chun Zi relax. He'll take care of it. Chun Zi is totally shocked. This must be a test from his father-in-law.
He quickly refuses right away.
About half a month later, the college entrance exam scores are released. Chun Zi isn't in a rush. The score is posted at midnight. He doesn't check online until the next day. Score, 749, as expected. Chun Zi speaks lightly. So this is where you were waiting for me. Honestly, this golden finger is really amazing. It even predicted this outcome. Causality skills really are invincible. Regardless of what kind of skill, anything related to those 3 words causality is always unbeatable. If it isn't, it's because the owner doesn't have it. For example, the skills I have myself. When I first saw the questions, I was honestly a little confused. Because no matter how I thought about it, no way could anyone get a perfect score. Even if my answers were right, they matched the correct answers. And that's exactly how it went. Obviously, I didn't get points for this question. At this point, that's why he prepared a backup plan for himself. All the related technical setups. This is clearly about making him prove himself, to actively make sure to get a perfect score. Perfect score on the college entrance exam is a must. I clearly wrote the correct answer, but you still didn't give me full marks. That's because you couldn't verify it. It's fine, I'll verify it myself. A perfect score isn't given by others. It's earned by yourself. Chunzi smiled very happily, making Ying Wenwen, who was quite worried nearby, for a moment, didn't know how to comfort him, stare blankly. Her expression gradually turned dazed. Brother Z is smiling, and it doesn't look like a fake smile. In fact, he really seems happy. Noticing her worried expression, Chunzi shook his head lightly. Don't worry, I'm truly happy. Because if I just passively waited for the entrance exam every year and kept getting perfect scores, that would be just too boring. Ying Wenwen was confused. Chunzi smiled without saying a word. Some things can't be said. Even if you told them, no one would believe. But I really wish there were more questions like this. Not just for the answers, but for the supporting knowledge and techniques. I have to say, that night I was so excited I couldn't sleep until late. Thought about so many things. But some of them, I was never sure could really be realized. But this time the challenging questions from the exam committee totally eliminated all my doubts. All of them can be achieved. It can be done, and will probably be even better than I imagined. The future will only get better. He said nothing. Ding Wenwen took a deep breath, gently held his hand, just quietly kept him company. Soon the news broke out. Chunzi scored 749. In an instant, netizens who've been quiet for almost a year, especially college students, celebrated everywhere, even more excited than during New Year's. The whole internet was basically overtaken by them. Chunzi is done for. Chunzi responded. It's not that I'm not good enough. It's that you're making things difficult for me. What's so difficult? It's just 1 point. And isn't this what you asked for? Isn't it? The exam committee actually followed your exact requirements. Made the questions according to your request. And you still didn't get a perfect score. What? Are you still so arrogant now? Still putting on a show, you attention-seeking clown. What the hell? You're nothing. Don't keep pretending from now on. You really think you're all that? Just go honestly find a college to attend. Honestly, your arrogance annoys me, but I admit your talent. Find a good college. Find a good mentor. Study hard and plan for the future. Become someone useful to society. Knowledge is boundless. Learning never ends. You get this now, right? Apologize. Apologize publicly. Yes, apologize. Didn't you say yourself, if you didn't get a perfect score, you'd apologize publicly? Where are you? Discussion on all the major forums and social networks. At first glance, it looked like everyone was against Chunzi, like he was rejected by the entire nation. The dream of the Red Chamber fans weren't having it. They started to fight back, but after a year had passed, interest in Red Chamber drastically decreased.
And now?
Those people grabbed onto Chunzi not getting a perfect score and launched relentless attacks. Even the Red Chamber fans couldn't take it. That's when Zhang Menglin stepped up, publicly stated that the recent atmosphere has been strange. I see a lot of people mocking and insulting Chunzi, saying he's run out of ideas, saying he's not good anymore, saying that, but I wonder if they've ever thought about this. The national top scorer in this year's college entrance exam is still him. He scored dozens of points higher than second place. The only question he didn't get full marks on. No one could get a full point either. What right do you have to mock or insult him? Zhang Menglin actually has a bit of influence. When he stepped up, he did manage to suppress a huge number of netizens for a while. But even 3 average people together make a Zhuge Liang, let alone millions of netizens. Soon some smart netizens noticed something. Professor Zhang's words make sense. But it was just that no one could get a full point, which means someone still got some points on that question. Even if it was a fraction, at least there were points to get. But Chunzi scored 0.1 points. Or rather, he didn't get anything like getting 0 on an essay. Isn't that enough to prove something? The question was really sharp. Instantly got Zhang Menglin in trouble. Why did I ever say no one could get a perfect score? He regretted it, but it was too late. No matter how he tried to argue back after, it just didn't have any effect. Helpless, he could only force a smile and ignore it. And texted Chunzi some words of comfort. Those who actually care about Chunzi and are genuinely close to him. All tried different ways to comfort him, afraid the overwhelming online hate would break him down. Only Chunzi himself stayed relaxed and carefree. Life went on as usual, not the least bit worried. Ying Wenwen remained quiet, but she was still really worried inside. So every day she did whatever she could to keep Chunzi happy. Almost every day she'd figure out new ways. And that really did make Chunzi happy. Actually, it made him even happier. But the whole country still seemed furious with Chunzi, and it kept going. The next day, director's office at Great Tongue Education Channel. Wang Bingbing knocked on the door. Director, you wanted to see me? Do you still keep in touch with Chunzi? The director asked, eyes practically sparkling. Yes, but not that often. Wang Bingbing answered. She's still in touch with Chunzi. She even texted him yesterday to comfort him. Last year after the interview, she kept his contact info, even though Chunzi was really arrogant at the time and kind of contradictory. But for some reason, Wang Bingbing always felt Chunzi wasn't as simple as he looked on the surface. So she'd check in with him online every so often, just to maintain the connection, so they wouldn't become strangers. Director, you mean? You guessed it, right? The director said excitedly. As long as you're in touch, that's good. Ask him if he'd be willing to do another interview. As for what we'll talk about, I'm sure you know better than I do. After all, in this area, you're the professional. Wang Bingbing frowned a little. In the end, it's just trying to get attention and traffic with tough topics. Views and more exposure, right? That's too much for a friend. She wanted to refuse. The director could see she wasn't happy, but didn't push it. Just smiled and said, no rush to answer. Since you're already in touch, why not just ask him first? If he doesn't mind, with such huge traffic benefits. Why aren't you eating again? Don't forget, after interviewing him last year, your status shot up. Wang Bingbing hesitated. If Chunzi doesn't mind, it should be fine, right? Okay, I'll ask first. Get back to me as soon as possible. Yeah, after leaving the office, she dialed Chunzi's number. Bingbing listened to Chunzi's familiar and relaxed voice. Wang Bingbing felt much more at ease. Chunzi, our station wants to arrange for me to interview you again. But the questions will definitely be sharper. You know that? I haven't agreed yet. I wanted to ask for your opinion first. Bring on the interview. Welcome, Chunzi laughed. Tough questions? I'm only worried if you aren't tough enough. Besides, the reason I haven't made a move all this time is because I was waiting for your official channel. I can't even be bothered with those other junior reporters. Okay, I haven't agreed yet. Please make sure you accept. He even added eagerly, the sooner the better. Well, sorry in advance. Wang Bingbing quickly said, I'll book the flight right away. I can be there this afternoon. She hung up. Chunzi looked at Yin Wenwen. You must be really curious why I'm not in a hurry at all, or why I don't care, right? Yin Wenwen nodded. Silly girl. Go ahead, ask. Would I not tell you if you asked? Chunzi smiled dotingly. He took her into his arms. Smelling the fresh scent of her hair, how could he not understand? He was worried about upsetting her. But even though I can't tell you about the golden finger stuff, I can't tell you that. But talking about the plan is totally fine. I'm going to have the Education Examination Authority change my score. I'm definitely going to get a perfect score. Yin Wenwen was shocked. She had thought of many possibilities, but it had never occurred to her that this was Chunzi's plan. Of course, changing the score isn't impossible either. After all, after the college entrance exam, there's a special period where you can ask for your scores to be reviewed. But why is he so sure he can get a perfect score? So you'll request a review soon. But how can you be certain that you really got that question right? Ding Wenwen was confused. Because if we can't figure out where YH 739 is, then a review wouldn't get you a perfect score, right? It's not just reviewing the score. Chunzi shook his head. His eyes sparkled. In the evening, Wang Bingbing arrived with the cameraman. It was a familiar face from last year, but both of them looked a bit travel-worn. The interview soon began. Hello everyone, I'm Bingbing. Today I'm honored to interview Chunzi again. Chunzi, could you say hello to everyone? Wang Bingbing was extremely professional, and her voice was also very sweet. In fact, this time, the TV station had specially approved for her to conduct the interview live. There weren't many viewers in the live stream room at first, but as soon as they saw Chunzi, everyone perked up. Wow, it really is Chunzi. If it wasn't him, would he even dare accept the interview? Isn't he afraid of embarrassment? Look at his expression. He looks so calm and carefree. It's like he thinks everyone here is trash compared to him. That's not just shamelessness. That's no shame at all. I give up on him. Can he see the comments? I just want to roast him. You guys keep on roasting. I'll go round up more people. This jerk probably doesn't even have an internet account. I bet he's totally unaware of us roasting him. It doesn't faze him at all. But a live stream is different. We'll roast him to death. In less than half a minute after going live, people got all riled up. You arrogant bastard. You shameless jerk, not even afraid of being called out, huh? Alright, let's call in everyone to roast you. Son of a bitch. Some viewers instantly called their friends, looking for backup. Unfortunately, Chunzi can't see this. He smiles at the camera and says, "Dear viewers, hello everyone, I'm Chunzi. It's been a year. I'm sure you all missed me. But don't worry, I'll work hard so you'll miss me even more next year. No need to thank me." Wang Bingbing's mouth twitches. Wow, he really isn't afraid of being roasted. The cameraman stares at the live comments. Crooked mouth and slanted eyes, people really miss you. Right, you're definitely right. They do miss you. But it's just that they miss roasting you. Okay, back to the topic. I believe there's only one thing the audience wants to know most. Chunzi, may I ask, what do you think about how you performed in this year's exam? Just like always. Chunzi calmly replies, "Steady performance." Steady performance? But I see everyone's curious. Wang Bingbing's gaze sweeps over the live comments. The corner of her eye twitches. All the comments are just cursing. How is this a steady performance? Shameless, what kind of steady performance is that? Who do you think you are? Etc. The comments just keep coming. He filters through them for a while, then adjusts his wording a bit, and finally says he didn't get a perfect score this year. To you, that shouldn't count as a steady performance. The original comment says you're bragging. You say you're so awesome. So why didn't you get a perfect score? That's a question you really need to explain. Let me clarify. Chunzi clears his throat. His expression stays incredibly calm. To the viewer who asked this question, may I ask who told you I didn't get a perfect score? Wang Bingbing. Both of them and all the viewers are stunned. Who told me? Who the hell needs to tell us? It's officially announced. National top score is 749 out of 700. Could you actually have scored higher? The comments immediately start roasting even harder. Wang Bingbing shrinks her neck. I don't quite understand what you mean. It's very simple. The grading team made a mistake. Chunzi calmly replies. He nonchalantly continues. For YH 739, I gave the correct answer. And YH 739 is right there. But they didn't even verify it. They just thought my answer was wrong. So they simply gave me a 0. As soon as he said that arrogantly, several obviously angry comments floated by. Where exactly is YH 739? It's still an unsolved mystery. So why do you claim your answer was correct? Who do you think you are? So many experts and professors couldn't solve it. And you, someone who's never been to college, dare shamelessly claim you found the correct answer. Ridiculous. Seeing these comments, Wang Bingbing shrinks her neck again. As expected, it's never peaceful when interviewing Chunzi. Things always get a lot of attention. Meanwhile, the question-setting team having a celebration banquet in Kyoto, and the grading team leaders from all over. One of them happens to be watching the live stream. The moment they see it, the room explodes. Especially after hearing Chunzi's remarks, they get instantly furious. Everyone grabs their phones and jumps into the live stream to start roasting. Especially the grading team leaders, they're even more furious. Sneering non-stop, he really dares to say. Right off the bat says we made a mistake. We didn't verify, so we gave him a 0, and that's it. Ridiculous. At that very moment, Chunzi speaks again. But honestly, I'm surprised too.
He looks straight into the camera.
I wonder if any grading team or question-setting team members are watching the live stream. I'd like to ask, before you wrote this question, didn't you consider this issue? That is, if a student's answer isn't on your list of standard answers, do you just give a 0? If so, here's the real issue. Since you have a standard answer, then why? Is YH739's exact location still unknown? Didn't you think about that as well? Your so-called standard answer isn't actually standard. Other people who only got a fraction of a point, their answers were plainly wrong, but you still gave them credit. Someone provided the correct answer, but since it didn't match the standard answer, they got no points. When there are different answers, why don't you try to verify? Is it just laziness? Or are you simply making sure I don't get a perfect score? Or are you unable to verify it? Once he asked that, the rational viewers were stunned. Then they fell silent. Sounds like it actually makes sense. So this question really has issues. But most viewers keep on roasting. Meanwhile, Wu Jianjun and the rest of the question-setting team look a bit concerned. Grading team leaders gradually catch on. They realize something's not right. They glance at each other, faces getting much more serious. This could be big or small. If you downplay it, it's nothing. But if you blow it up, there's a real problem with this question. It's basically a question with no correct answer. Although, the standard answer was calculated from knowledge. But a standard answer isn't the same as a correct answer. So the standard answer only scores 0.6 at most, which is just passing. But then again, who actually knows the correct answer? They're hesitating. When Chanzi says again, if that's the case, you can tell me. I'll verify it myself. He stands up with determined eyes. I'll find YH739 myself. I'll prove my answer was right. What's wrong is your grading. What's wrong is this world. Chanzi puts on an act again. Although, by temperament, he really doesn't like showing off. How nice it would be to just live quietly. But he has no choice. He has to show off, for his cheat to work at its best. The experts and teachers from the grading and question-setting teams hear this, and immediately get furious. The hesitation and concern they just felt vanish on the spot. They glare at Chanzi on the screen, grinding their teeth. Just from their expressions, it's as if they'd like to eat Chanzi alive, then feed him to the dogs. So infuriating. How can he be so arrogant? Wrong is wrong. He just won't admit it. Even if the question has issues, at the end of the day, this question was meant to test physics knowledge and calculation skills only. There's only the standard answer, and it's not a perfect score. So even if there are problems with the question, it's still minor. But he just keeps playing it up. Ridiculous. The academic old-timers blow their mustaches in frustration. Does this kid know anything about respecting teachers? Does he know what humility means? We study to gain knowledge, understand things, recognize honor and shame, and then to be reserved and humble, strict with oneself, generous with others, not just to let him think he knows a little and just because they know a few big words, they think they're above everyone else. They believe they're always right. They think nobody in the world is as good as them. Damn, we originally thought maybe we really were wrong. Felt kind of guilty. But then you pulled this crap. Ashamed and guilty. Why should we even feel guilty? If he really understood this stuff, how could he act so arrogant? Wu Jianjun sneered. I finally get it now. He's all out of tricks. If he can't get a perfect score, he just starts messing around. He turns around and blames the question itself. And insists he's not wrong. So what's his answer? The Mariana Trench. Over 20,000 meters below the sea. No one can really go down to check. So whatever he says, nobody can prove him wrong. It's unprovable. Then he can keep making excuses. At this point,
He sneered and said, I thought he was some prodigy kid.
just young and reckless. Turns out he's just another hype-driven, ordinary person. If he had just straightforwardly admitted he couldn't get a perfect score, I wouldn't have looked down on him at all. In fact, I'd respect him more. But he doesn't even have the guts to admit he failed. It's truly disappointing. Utterly disappointing. Zhang Menglin frowned but stayed silent. He felt that Wu Jianzhen was wrong. After all, he'd interacted with Chunzi. Even though Chunzi acts arrogant, he sure doesn't seem like someone afraid of admitting defeat, or a shameless guy who keeps arguing endlessly. But he has no proof either. Nothing solid enough, no strong argument, so he can't defend Chunzi, so he could only stay quiet and rack his brains thinking about other possibilities. But for now, he really couldn't come up with anything. Qin Zhengguo sighed softly. Definitely disappointing. The question setters from other subjects all nodded in agreement. Besides being angry, they felt a little disappointed and let down. Chunzi is so arrogant and keeps provoking them over and over. Naturally, they aren't happy about it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be so determined to stop him from getting a perfect score, prevent him from perfect scores. But besides the anger, they actually admired Chunzi quite a bit. At least his learning ability and his talent impressed them. Just young and reckless, right? You're not truly young if you're never bold. Honestly, if I could easily get a perfect score myself, I might be even more arrogant than him. It's really not a big deal. He just needs to learn. There's always someone better out there. And there's always a higher mountain. Put him in his place, and he'll chill out on his own. Then he can focus on learning deeper knowledge, and eventually serve the country, and benefit all humanity or something. But in reality, sigh, he's proven disappointing. Unlike their question-setting group, the grading officials don't feel much admiration or disappointment. It's almost pure anger. I really want to see how he's going to prove it. Just wait for my question. Very soon. In the long silent live stream, a message popped up. You said you'd prove it, so how will you prove it? Then another message followed saying all that. But what's your actual answer? Is there any theoretical basis? The shocked and thoughtful audience snapped out of it and started asking questions one after another. Almost instantly, these two questions flooded the chat. These two questions are fair to ask. Wang Bingbing, totally floored, almost forgot to breathe, came back to her senses, and forced down her shocked expression, looking at Chunzi. But Chunzi, you still seem as confident as ever. However, almost every viewer has a hard time believing what you're saying. Can you tell us what answer you wrote down? Is there any theoretical basis? And also, you said you would prove it yourself. How exactly would you prove it? The answer's easy. Chunzi looked straight at the camera and calmly said, the Mariana Trench. The deepest part, the Mariana Trench. Wang Bingbing and the cameraman froze for a second. Coming over that's the deepest trench in the world. Chunzi nods. The deepest trench in the world. The deepest part exceeds 20,000 meters. At the deepest part of the Kyogea Trench, Wang Bingbing is shocked, asks again to confirm. Chunzi nods and continues. So strictly speaking, I can understand why the grading team can't verify it. After all, even right now, the most advanced manned submersible in the world can't reach that depth either. But giving a 0 just for not verifying, I don't get it. And as for the question setters, setting something like this, a question they can't even verify themselves, I think that's a problem too. While answering, he doesn't miss the chance to mock the question setters again. Wu Jianzhen and the others just sneer. See, I knew he'd use this to make a fuss. Can't find a proper reason, so you should give points. What a joke. I'll just watch him act all smug. Just watching his little show. Even the grading bigwigs speak coldly, telling him to go on. Let's see how he'll try to wriggle out of this. Let's see if he can turn a no into a yes. Let's see if he can really say anything. As for the audience, most are just speechless. Damn, he really has the guts to say that. So that's his answer. No wonder they didn't give him points. Is this a joke? Moreland Star's current population is 13 billion. The planet's diameter is over 17,000 kilometers. A trench over 20,000 meters deep sounds amazing. But compared to the entire planet, it's really nothing at all. Even for Moreland Star, 20,000 meters is nothing. But a seafloor over 20,000 meters deep, for current human technology, is like an unreachable shore. You really can't get down there. At least not in front of people. Even steam can't get down. So how the hell do you prove if it's right or wrong? Wang Bingbing gradually calms down, secretly admits a mistake. Chunzi is very confident. It's not like it's my first day knowing this. Why was I even shocked with everyone else? Almost forgot I was doing an interview.
He quickly adjusts his attitude.
Takes a question from the comments. Even if what you say makes sense, sure, it can't be disproven. But there's no way to prove your answer is actually right either. Isn't that so? So that's why the audience thinks you shouldn't get the points. Or at most, just a half point. Still no way to get a perfect score. What do you think about that? What do I think? It's not worth thinking about. Chunzi smiled. Didn't I just say it a moment ago? Whether it's the grading team or anyone else, you can't verify it. Then I'll do it myself. Wang Bingbing is breathing rapidly. You mean actually going down 20,000 meters into the ocean? Yes, but that's only half right. Facing the live camera, Chunzi's calm face shows no emotion. It should be, I go 20,000 meters underwater and find YH739. By then, it will be clear I'm telling the truth. Wang Bingbing's lips part in shock. Even if she expected something wild, she can't help but be stunned now. As for the audience, almost everybody bursts out laughing. That's some outrageous boasting. The viewers can't help but laugh. Mocking, ridiculing. The comments are flying. I'm dying with laughter. With so many countries and regions involved. So much equipment, personnel, experts dispatched. Over 4 or 5 months of effort. And still no trace of YH739. But he opens his mouth. Like it's effortlessly easy for him to find it. Damn, he really dares to brag. After too much to drink, I might say I own the world. But even then, I wouldn't make this claim. Do you even hear yourself? Forget whether it's possible to find. Check your own answer first. The deepest part of the Kyogea Trench is at least over 20,000 meters. We don't even know the exact number, but it's definitely not less, only more. So by what you're saying, you'd have to reach the very bottom of the Kyogea Trench, and even deeper than 20,000 meters below the sea. How exactly are you planning to do that? What makes you think you can go? All the world's tech still can't reach that. How can you say that? Acting like it'll be easy just because you say so. This is just for attention. Doesn't even care about saving face anymore. What a clown. I really shouldn't have responded to you. Just gave you more hype for no reason. You really do dare to boast. Just all talk, no action. Says anything that comes to mind. Looking at comment after comment, all doubting him. Or even blatantly cursing. Wang Bingbing looks conflicted. But Wu Jianzhen and the graders are laughing. Turns out there are still clear-thinking people. Not that easy to spin the narrative without him noticing. Really dares to brag. Qin Zhengguo scoffs. If he really can prove his answer is correct, I'll take the math test for him next year myself. That's the closest I'll give him to acknowledging him. Seriously? Wu Jianzhen sneers. After a moment of silence, Wang Bingbing speaks again. We're almost at the end of the interview, but our live stream still has lots of questions from viewers. He calls criticisms and curses questions. People just don't get where your confidence comes from. It's not just about confidence. YH739 is right down there.
And
How can you be sure you can reach 20,000 meters below the sea? Because, at present, no manned submersible can go that deep. Not even halfway. Right now, that's true. Chunzi nods in response. But that doesn't mean it won't be possible in the future. On the contrary, it definitely will be. And probably very soon. I think within a year, by the next college entrance exam, it will definitely happen. A manned submersible with the necessary technology. And then, I'll personally pilot it 20,000 meters below the ocean. And live stream the entire process searching for the YH739 wreckage. Facing the camera, he laughs dryly. Almost the entire audience is doubting or cursing me right now. Right? But honestly, I can't even be bothered. Whether you think I'm bragging, or dodging the question because I can't admit I'm wrong. It doesn't matter. Just wait and see. He stands up and looks straight into the camera. Full of arrogance. Within a year, I'll prove my answer is not wrong. And next year, I'll take the college entrance exam again. And get a perfect score again. Also, not sure if any question-setting teachers are watching. But this year's question really wasn't hard. You just couldn't verify it yourselves. That's the only reason for all this. So maybe make it tougher next year? Please, don't underestimate me, alright? What's so hard about this question anyway? If foreigners found out, they think this is all I can do and can't solve tough problems. Wang Bingbing is speechless. The cameraman is too. The audience is all losing it. The question setters nearly spit up blood. Damn, he's really got some nerve. I wouldn't even dare to brag like that. I'd be afraid the wind would scatter my tongue. When people realized what was happening and wanted to rant, they found out that only half an hour after the broadcast ended. Time was already up. Wang Bingbing didn't even say any closing remarks. First, there wasn't enough time. Second, she didn't even know what to say. I thought last year's interview with Chunzi was already wild enough. But this year, heck, last year was nothing. Compared to this year, last year was totally overshadowed. You could even call it the glow of a firefly, competing against the brightness of the full moon. There was just no comparison. The gap was enormous. Way too massive. Especially absurd. Last year, at most, he blasted the university and the exam writers. But this year, he took it to another level based on last year. Even crazier, not to mention, he basically cursed out the whole world. You guys don't know where YH739 is. I know you can't find YH739. I can find it. What kind of person can be this bold? I'm really afraid if this broadcast keeps going, it'll spiral out of control. After hurriedly ending the live stream, Wang Bingbing finally let out a breath. She was able to relax a bit. That was really scary. If it kept going, something would definitely happen. Luckily, time was up. The live stream was already over. Only then did he realize. He was drenched in sweat without knowing when it happened. His clothes were soaked with sweat. Before this, he hadn't even noticed. What kind of interview was this? Even when interviewing industry big shots, I would only get a little nervous. But this time, during the stream, Wang Bingbing actually felt a bit dazed. It's already over. Chunzi was even looking at him, seeming like he wanted more. Come on, bro, give me a break. Wang Bingbing was really speechless. I'm honestly scared if I keep interviewing him. Those angry viewers will start holding a grudge against me too. Then go crazy lodging complaints. He forced out a smile. All right, time's up. How about grabbing a meal together? Though I didn't quite finish showing off. It's not really a big deal. It's over, so be it. Chanzi smiled and asked if he wanted some late-night snacks. But he quickly waved his hand. Hey, Chanzi, our station still has work to do. We need to hurry back. Gotta say goodbye for now.
He didn't dare stay any longer.
Quickly told the cameraman to grab the equipment and left like he was escaping. That was really scary. On the way, the cameraman couldn't help but complain. I'm afraid after interviewing him, we'll get beat up. Probably not, right? Wang Bingbing shrank back his neck, looked around, felt a bit more reassured. This is a villa area. Security should be quite good here. Less than a few minutes after Wang Bingbing and his companion left, Ding Wenwen walked out of the bedroom, a bit excited and said, Brother Z, it worked. The company is successfully registered. The business license has been issued. Does the company location start renovations tomorrow? Nope. Chunzi pulled her in close, dressed in sexy lingerie, and smiled. The company address here is just rented for paperwork. Next, for a while, we'll be heading to Shenzhen to rely on you. My future father-in-law. After all, our southwest region doesn't border the sea and doesn't really have any decent shipbuilding industry. Since we're doing this stuff, we need to go to a professional place. I'll book us plane tickets. When do we leave? The sooner the better. Tomorrow then. But before that, Yin Wenwen's pretty face blushed. But she ended up cooperating enthusiastically. Yin Wenwen fell into a deep sleep, but Chunzi was not sleepy at all. He opened his laptop and entered battle mode. You guys don't believe me, and you're all waiting to see me make a fool of myself. Fine. Then I'll show you how the results actually turn out.
It wasn't until late at night
that Chunzi finally closed his laptop quietly. He climbed into bed softly and pulled the sleeping Yin Wenwen into his arms, feeling the smooth and warm sensation of her fair skin, before quietly falling asleep. The next day, the two traveled light and took a flight to Shenzhen together. Shenzhen, due to its unique and superior geographical location and environment, its development over the past few decades has been incredibly rapid.
taking off at a breakneck speed.
Within the entire country of Tang, it is an absolute economic powerhouse, never having fallen out of the top 3 nationwide. Many large-scale high-tech and financial enterprises are located here, while other businesses are even more numerous, countless like cattle hair. Moreover, Shenzhen's shipbuilding industry is also top tier, ranking among the best in the country. Just as they stepped out of the airport, they saw a beautiful woman standing next to a luxury car, looking out expectantly. "It's Zhang Ji," Yin Wenwen smiled and waved from a distance, pulling Chanzi over. Zhang Ji also immediately broke into a smile. As Secretary Zhang approached, Chanzi nodded politely. He had met Secretary Zhang once before. She was the perfect candidate for a secretary. Meeting her again, she was wearing an exquisite OL uniform, looking even more radiant than the last time. Chanzi couldn't help but think his future father-in-law had good taste. With a secretary like this, many big bosses would be green with envy. Most importantly, it wasn't just her outward appearance. Her capabilities were also very strong. "Chiku, Mr. Liu, the chairman sent me to pick you up. He has a meeting this morning and can't get away for now. He will come to see you in the afternoon. No rush." Chanzi waved his hand gently. "Let's get in the car first and talk slowly." "All right." Regarding Chanzi, Secretary Zhang showed no negligence. She knew very well that her chairman held Chanzi in high regard, being very satisfied with this future son-in-law. Over the past year, he had mentioned it in her ear countless times. How could she dare be negligent? If she made Chanzi angry, and he casually mentioned it later to the chairman, she would likely get fired. A chairman's assistant, especially for such a large company, was not an easy position to find. Besides, she had long since gotten used to it. After getting into the car, Secretary Zhang poured drinks for them and didn't say much else. This was a necessary professional trait for a secretary. When unsure if the guests wanted to chat, it was best not to disturb them. If they needed anything, they would naturally give orders. "Where are we going?" A moment later, Chanzi spoke up. The chairman's intention was to go to the company. Secretary Zhang replied softly. He said he wanted to introduce Chiku and Mr. Liu to everyone. His exact words were, "You are both 20 now, and it's time to gradually take over company affairs." Not interested. Unexpectedly, Yin Wenwen rolled her eyes immediately. "I'm only a sophomore. As for me, I'm not really suited for office work." Chanzi shrugged. "Secretary Zhang, I beg you both to act like normal people. In such a big company, the chairman wants to groom you as successors, yet both of you are unwilling. Anyone else would be crying and begging for this chance. How about this, since Uncle Yin is busy this morning anyway? Why don't you take us for a tour? I happen to have some business to handle." "All right." Secretary Zhang nodded immediately in agreement. The chairman had instructed, "If Mr. Liu has any requests at all, as long as it's not illegal or criminal, I should fulfill them. If it involves, then I might need to contact someone else to take over." Yin Wenwen looked out the window, acting as if she hadn't heard anything. Chanzi raised an eyebrow. Those words were worth savoring. There was a hidden meaning, but there was no need to go to that extent. "We don't do illegal or criminal business." Actually, Chanzi pretended not to understand. "I just want to rent an office building to start a company." "Secretary Zhang, you should be quite familiar with this." "Familiar? I'm very familiar with it." Secretary Zhang smiled. "Mr. Liu, wait a moment. I actually have a perfect place in mind. I'll take you there now. Sorry for the trouble." The vehicle drove through the streets of Shenzhen, where busy traffic and skyscrapers complemented each other. Chanzi leaned against the car window, watching the city lights outside. For a moment, he felt as if he were in another lifetime, as if he were seeing the Shenzhen of his previous life. Grand Summit International Tower C, a grade 5A office building. The name implied great fortune and prosperity. The 18th floor happened to be vacant. In the elevator, Secretary Zhang introduced softly, "Mr. Liu, see if it's suitable first. If it is, you can slightly modify the decor, or just move in right away." The area is 1,980 square meters. The renovation is excellent, absolutely top tier for an office building. The environment is also good, and there are as many as 9 elevators. During peak hours, there will basically be no issues with waiting for an elevator. She went through every detail, one by one. Taking a look, Chanzi was quite satisfied. Nice place. As expected of Secretary Zhang, you are truly professional. You flatter me, Mr. Liu. Secretary Zhang smiled. If you like it, we'll settle on this. Wait, this place isn't cheap, right? What's the annual rent? About that, Secretary Zhang looked at Yin Wenwen. It's our own place. Yin Wenwen chuckled softly. It was probably when I was 12 or 13. My dad partnered with a few people to get land and build houses. The result was this circle of office buildings. He drew Tower C in the lottery. He used to always tell me this was my dowry. He also said if I didn't study hard, and didn't amount to much in the future, I'd have to just be a landlady. After saying that, she winked at Chunzi. You tell me, how much rent should you pay me? Wow, so you're actually a landlady. Chunzi was stunned. It seemed his understanding of Yin Wenwen and her father in his previous life wasn't thorough enough. Not only were they in finance, but also in real estate. Of course! The corner of Yin Wenwen's mouth curled up slightly. How much rent are you giving? I'd say it should at least be this much. Theft. Yin Wenwen spat softly, then hummed, fine. At this price then. The 18th floor is yours. Use it however you like. It's not just for me to use however I like. How can you not be the boss's wife? Chunzi also laughed. What rent? Just joking. Tomorrow, our future technology will officially be listed and start operations. Future technology. This was the name Chunzi came up with, symbolizing the idea of heading towards the future. Besides, the technologies currently in his mind really were future technologies.
He wasn't exaggerating at all.
As for afterwards, he believes that under his management, more future technologies will gradually be credited. By then, the world will naturally understand just how futuristic future technology really is. Future technology. Great name, very impressive. Secretary Zhang gave a thumbs up in praise. Then he added, Mr. Liu's future technology. Is it taking the tech route? Not sure which industry you are actually in. Do you need any staff? According to the chairman's instructions, if Mr. Liu needs anything, I'll do my best to handle it. If there's a lack of staff, we can temporarily transfer some people from our side. Maybe we're not that skilled in technical areas, but in HR, finance, and administration, we have no problem at all. At least we can build the company's framework first. Once Mr. Liu recruits new people, our folks can just return afterward. Chunzi's eyes lit up. Wouldn't that be too much trouble? It's not a bother, we have backup staff. Secretary Zhang smiled. There won't be any issues. Thanks for your help then. Chunzi agreed. It's really not a big deal. It's not like these are technical staff. We're only talking about administration-related roles. No big problem. Besides, if it was just me and Yingwen working on it, it would take at least half a month to a month just to build the framework. That'd be such a waste of time. Time is money, after all. As for favors, there will be plenty of opportunities later. No need to worry about it right now. It's really no trouble. It's our duty. I'll do everything I can and pick out the best people to join you. Secretary Zhang hurriedly assured it won't be an issue. Chunzi nodded. As for salaries, after staff are transferred over, we'll handle the payments on our end. Also, don't force anyone. If you force it, it won't work out. But regarding pay, anyone who is willing to come will get a 10% raise during the transfer period. Chunzi, who worked as a corporate drone for over 10 years in his past life, knows way too well what most employees really think. Don't give me that Wolf culture nonsense. Don't BS me with empty promises. And definitely don't push those toxic tricks. Let's all just be sincere. Employees are here to earn money. If you pay enough, they will naturally work hard for you. With a $30,000 salary, This company is basically my boss's house. He tells me what to do, and I do it. With a $10,000 plus salary, plus commission and overtime pay. No problem, I'd fight for the boss. With a $5,000 salary and overtime. Is there overtime pay and benefits? If not, then forget it. Even if there are, depends on my mood. With a $1,500 salary, damn. Is the boss even here? Hand me a cup of coffee. No sugar, it's simple logic. If you want the horse to run, you gotta feed it grass. If you want your employee to work hard, then you gotta pay them enough. But Chunzi isn't stupid either. The staff hasn't even arrived yet. If I just double the salary out of nowhere, that'd be money burning for no reason. Given Yingshan Stone Finance's salary levels, it's already not low. A 10% boost is plenty high. If you want to add more, you can do that after there are profits or achievements. As for benefits, it's only natural to try to match the big companies as much as possible. When we start making money, surpassing them won't be out of reach. For overtime, Chunzi decided on a voluntary principle. If you want to work overtime, you can. But that's all for later. But the chairman means the salaries will be paid from our side. Secretary Zhang let out a light sigh. If we do that, does that make me someone who lives off others? Sorry, that's not what I meant. Then let's do as Mr. Liu says. All right, thank you. All right, there's one more thing. The company sign and logo haven't been designed yet. Secretary Zhang, do you know anyone? Ideally, we could use it by tomorrow. We can pay extra. We don't need any big-name designers. I only care about the results, not about reputation. As for design requirements and elements, even just 2 are fine. It needs a futuristic, technological feel. That's not hard. Secretary Zhang took on the job. Ji can handle it. It'll be installed properly before tomorrow's team comes in. Sorry to trouble you. When they went to the Yin family, it was already past 4 p.m. This time, Chunzi didn't come empty-handed.
He brought a big bag of fruit.
He skipped buying cigarettes and alcohol. Yin Wenwen said they had plenty at home. A little fruit just gestures goodwill. In fact, if it were up to her, he wouldn't even need to buy fruit. But Chunzi felt awkward coming empty-handed. But he was overthinking. As soon as they met, Yin Tianqi greeted him with a broad, beaming smile. He warmly asked Chunzi how he was doing. He even directly left his precious daughter aside, making Yin Yinwen feel totally sidelined. As for the more mature version of Yin Wenwen, she was beautiful, intellectual, and graceful. She greeted Chunzi with a bright smile too. Her manners were perfect. She didn't make Chunzi feel the slightest discomfort. During dinner, Yin Tianqi urged Chunzi to drink wine with him. Chunzi didn't want to refuse. In the end, both of them got drunk. It was Yin Wenwen and her mother who brought him back to the bedroom. Otherwise, he would have probably slept in the dining room. Even on cloudy days, it wasn't much better. The old man was in a great mood. He was extremely satisfied with his son-in-law Chunzi. After some back and forth, they ended up drinking a few more rounds. Getting drunk was almost inevitable. After washing up, Yin Wenwen tiptoed, wanting to sneak into Chunzi's room to take care of him. But she was caught red-handed by her mother waiting quietly in the living room. It's so late. Where are you going, Mom? Why are you here? Wenwen shrank her head instantly. She was racking her brain for an excuse, but then saw her mom patting the seat next to her on the couch. She quickly went over obediently. Her mom held her hand and said earnestly, I was young once too. I know exactly what's on you young people's minds. How could I not understand? That one sentence made Wenwen so embarrassed. Actually, hey, I understand there's nothing shameful about it. Her mom patted her hand. But that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to know is, do you really love him? You can't live without him. Yeah, about that. Wenwen didn't hesitate. She nodded immediately. So does he truly have real skills? Or is he just living off you? Wenwen protested. Of course he has real skills. She got anxious and her mother chuckled. I'm not doubting him. I'm just saying, if you can't live without him, and he does have real talent, and it's because of that talent that you like him, then you need to be prepared. Prepared for what? Wenwen was stunned. Of course, her mother sighed. You have high standards. No one knows that better than I do. If you chose him, that means his abilities must be pretty impressive. With talent and your support, barring any accidents, his future achievements won't be low. In other words, a talented man, and you can't live without him. What should you be ready for? Men as a species? As long as they're breathing, none of them are unlustful. At this point, she gave a self-deprecating smile. Feeling a bit awkward, she opened her mouth several times, but didn't know how to say it. Do you really think I don't know about your dad's affairs? A smart woman just doesn't bring trouble on herself, that's all. You and I are different, of course. You have us as your support. You can handle any choice you make. But in any case, you have to be mentally prepared. All right, this old lady can't sleep, just talking nonsense. Don't take it to heart. Go find your boyfriend. With that, she got up lightly and headed toward the bedroom. Wen sat in silence for a moment, then got up too. Her destination remained the same. He's drunk. Gotta take care of him. The next morning, downstairs at Dragon Peak International Building C, Chunzi and another person ran into Secretary Zhang's team. A full 20-person team. Everyone looked energetic and sharp. They clearly looked like elite staff. One of them called out, "Good morning, President Zhang." Secretary Zhang smiled and greeted, "Good morning, President Chen." They all greeted loudly. At the same time, each a little curious, they stared at the young man in front of them. Is this the guy who won the chairman's daughter's heart? Handsome, definitely handsome. Wait, why is it him? In the crowd, a young man with parted hair got a clear look at Chunzi's face and instantly looked shocked. A middle-aged female co-worker asked, "You know Chunzi? The one who got a perfect score on the college entrance exam? I even bad-mouthed him online." The female co-worker twitched her mouth. She whispered, "You better keep that secret, or you'll be in trouble. I heard the chairman already picked him as her son-in-law. That's not going to change, no matter what. If anyone else finds out, your great job will be over. You think I don't know that?" The parted hair guy looked miserable, then suddenly turned to the female co-worker. "Sister Liu, you're not going to snitch on me, right?" "Depends on your behavior." The female co-worker covered her mouth and snickered. "Everyone's here." A loud greeting, "Good morning, President Chen." Then Secretary Zhang stepped forward. "They're all elite members. They can start working right away. There are also a few others. I sent them to buy office supplies. They should be here within an hour. The sign and logo have also been installed. Also, President Chen, I am officially reporting to you as well." Chunzi blinked. "Secretary Zhang, you mean as per the chairman's instructions?"
He said with a smile, future tech just got started.
"And it's really short-handed. My abilities are just barely sufficient. So my next job is to help you, President Chen, with all matters related to future tech. I hope you won't mind." "Of course not. That's fantastic. Still, sorry for troubling Uncle Yang and the others." Chunzi was overjoyed. Having a capable secretary really saves a lot of trouble. And it's not just because she's pretty, let alone all that secretary does whatever needs to be done. Nonsense. And definitely not, if there's nothing to do the secretary stuff. Chunzi wasn't thinking about all that nonsense right now. He was focused on making future tech succeed and finding YHC 39. After all, future tech, it's not just about building manned submersibles. It's also the starting point for Chunzi's journey toward the future. If the plan goes relatively smoothly, the knowledge and skills I understand in the future will keep increasing and become richer and more diverse. But to make it happen, we definitely need a team, everyone united as one, working together. Future tech is that rope. Chunzi turned around and was quite satisfied at first glance. On the wall in the lobby, on the information board listing the floors, he immediately spotted future tech on the 18th floor. The silver lettering looked very high-tech. The logo was a simplified digital eyeball. It almost looked like the Terminator's perspective. It was very futuristic. "Can you see a glimpse of the future?" Chunzi smiled.
He murmured, "Our future tech."
"Isn't just about catching a glimpse of the future. We want to firmly grasp it in our hands. With more than 20 people, one elevator obviously isn't enough. But 2 elevators are just right. Secretary Zhang did a great job. He was very attentive in such a short time. Even the patterns on the elevator buttons were changed to Future Tech's logo. When the elevator doors opened, everyone saw the entire hallway and company reception area were filled with elements related to Future Tech. The relevant signs had already been properly installed. Everything looked very professional. Secretary Zhang is impressive. Chen Zi gave him a thumbs up. He smiled and said, Mr. Chen, if there's anything you're not satisfied with, let me know. I'll contact someone right away to fix it. It's already quite good, especially considering how little time we had. Let's keep it like this for now. Chen Zi expressed his satisfaction. After opening the door, everyone streamed in. Secretary Zhang reminded, Mr. Chen, should we have a meeting in the conference room first? No need, Chen Zi waved his hand. Why waste time? Right after that, he loudly said in the lobby, everyone stop. Regarding work matters, I'll arrange for Secretary Zhang to inform you. As for everything else, I don't really think it's worthwhile. Making grand promises, hyping everyone up, promoting cutthroat corporate culture, none of that is as useful as cold hard cash in my opinion. By the way, at Future Tech we use a task-based work system. Your supervisor will assign your daily tasks according to the actual situation. Those are your assessment metrics. As long as you complete them, all your benefits will be provided. And you don't have to worry about your supervisor making things difficult. If you feel something is unreasonable, you can report it to a higher level. The higher-ups will send someone to investigate. If there's an issue, your supervisor will be fired immediately. Overall, I hope Future Tech never has overtime. If it's absolutely necessary, then you'll get every cent of overtime pay. I hope everyone comes and goes right on schedule. After all, we're here to earn a living, not because we love working. You should rest when it's time to rest. And later on, I'll discuss with Secretary Zhang to set up a flexible work schedule. What does that mean? For example, if you have kids at home, both spouses are working, and there's no time to take care of them, you can choose your own working hours, with each spouse working at different times, so you can take care of your kids and solve related issues. As long as you finish your tasks each day, it's fine. He didn't want to have slow, drawn-out meetings. He also didn't like exploiting employees. Although that might bring in more money, wouldn't it bother your conscience? Of course, maybe it's because he has a cheat code, so he has the confidence to say this. For someone as successful as Chen Zi, he wasn't sure. But he remembered back when he was just a worker in his previous life. He absolutely hated management exploiting employees, and all the systems and workloads that made employees compete against each other. So back then, he used to imagine, what kind of company and what kind of work style would appeal most to the staff? Pay definitely has to be industry leading. Second, workloads must be clearly defined. You can't just keep piling work on someone as soon as they've finished their tasks. So in the end, one person is doing the work of several people.